Hi, boys and girls. Today's lesson in the safety and injury prevention unit is food safety. Okay? So we're going to talk about food that's delicious and everything, but you still have to be careful when you're handling it. As long as really like anything, you just have to be careful. So, food safety. My first question is, how can you prevent food poisoning? So, in order for you to kind of answer that question, you need to be on the same page about what food poisoning actually is. So, what food poisoning is, it's when you get sick after eating foods that have gone bad. Okay? Um, Usually it's not very serious, but it is very, very uncomfortable. So why do we get it? Okay, so food poisoning is actually our body's way of kind of preventing any further damage. Okay, so if you eat something that has gone bad, you're usually going to try to get rid of it in some way. So you might throw it up, it might come out the other end in the form of diarrhea, which is gross, but it's something that we talk about in health class. And usually that's your body's natural way of kind of flushing the germs out of your body to kind of keep you safe and healthy. Okay? But nobody really likes that and it's uncomfortable. So let's talk about how we can prevent it and the steps that we should take to do that. Okay? Um, First question is a little bit of a trivia question, and I want you to either write the answer down on a piece of paper or tell somebody in the room. But what do you think when I ask you the question? Take your best guess. How long can leftovers be left in your fridge? Give you a moment to think about it. Give you a moment to talk to somebody. You can see what mom, dad thinks, brother, sister. What do you think? All right. Well, leftovers can they say can safely be left in the fridge in a range of anywhere from 3 to 4 days, and that's give or take a little bit. Some things might be able to last a little bit longer, some things maybe a little bit shorter, but 3 to 4 days is usually a good rule of thumb. Anything after 4 days, I would probably toss. Okay, and this is things like leftovers. So after you prepare a meal and you had some leftover chicken and you put that in the fridge, that's probably going to be good for 3 to 4 days. That's not the same as putting your mustard or your ketchup or your mayo back in the fridge. That's going to be good for a very long time. You're just going to want to take a look at the expiration date. So it's important to know the difference between the two. My next question for you is another trivia question. What kind of germs do you know about? Okay. So I know we all know what germs are, but what are the actual names of some germs? All right, I'll give you about 5 seconds to kind of think about it, take your best guess, talk about it with somebody in the room, write your answers down. All right. Um, your germs, the four popular germs are one is bacteria, and that could be good or bad. Okay, we have good bacteria, for example, in our stomachs that kind of keeps us healthy and protects us. Also on our teeth. Viruses, okay, and what viruses are, they are things that are living. Okay, they need living cells to survive, so they take over the cells in our body and get us sick. Okay. Another form of germs is something called protozoa. So they spread diseases through water. So that's why it's really important to make sure we're drinking water that's filtered water. Usually our tap water is pretty good, but there's some areas in this world that it's not, or maybe they don't have healthy water. So that's why it's really, really important to. We're all pretty lucky, so kind of not to take for granted the fact that we have healthy water, because a lot of diseases are spread that way. And then also fungi or fungus, and they live in damp, warm places and cause rashes. Okay, so those are the germs that kind of take over foods when they are um, not handled properly. So let's talk about what we can do. So some tips, okay? We're living in a time where you guys have been told a million times to wash your hands properly, and it is very, very important. And now, if anything comes out good that we can think comes out of this thing that we're going through right now, it's that we now know how important it is to wash our hands. Okay, before you make food or eat food, always important to make sure your hands are clean. You also want to wash raw foods like fruits and vegetables. Okay, They grow in the ground, they grow on trees, they're transported from trucks, they go into supermarkets, they are sprayed with things. All right, you need to wash those foods before you eat them. Okay, always check the date on your packaged foods and refrigerate leftovers right after you're done eating them. Don't just let them sit around, sit outside, because that's germs can take over a lot more quickly. Here's a fun one. So the 5 second rule. Who agrees with it? Some people. This is where I'm used to seeing some hands up, hands down. Um, and here's where I insert my corny joke. I can think of 4 rules that are better than the 5 second rule: the 4 second rule, the 3 second rule, the 2 second rule, and the 1 second rule. Okay? So, with that thinking, the longer a food is on the ground, the more likely it is to get contaminated. Okay? So, the 5 second rule is going to be better than the 6 second rule or the 7 second rule. But in reality, the second rule is kind of false. Okay, so if something does drop onto the ground and it's something that cannot be washed off, it's better off to be safe than sorry and discard that food. Because a clean looking floor is not always necessarily clean. Faster is better when you're talking about dropping down foods, but fast may not be fast enough. So if you have to think twice about it, toss it out. Being safe in the kitchen. Okay, you should all right now. You're old. You guys are in 3rd grade. You're having more responsibilities. So you might be allowed to be cooking food in the kitchen. You might not be allowed. Everybody should have some rules in the kitchen. Okay, so what rules? What foods can you make in the kitchen? That's what I want you to ask yourself. And what rules do you have in the kitchen? There's a reason why your parents tell you to hold knives a proper way, or to not touch the stove, or to make sure you're careful about what you put into the microwave. So, what I want you to do today is I want you to talk to your parents about what you're allowed to do in the kitchen, what you're not allowed to do in the kitchen, because it's very important. A lot of injuries. We talked about fire safety with the stove in the last class. So it's important to stay safe right there. Okay. So that's all I have for you today. I want you guys to be safe, be healthy, um, and do that homework. I want you to talk about your family kitchen rules. I will talk to you guys soon. I hope you guys all have a great week. And I miss you, and I'll talk to you later.